Hey, has Reviews here for my 400th video on YouTube. Yeah, well, what a milestone! 400 videos. Been doing review videos for this channel since 2018, and yeah, 400 videos. Wow. I mean, it's probably more if you count before the flick, and I don't know, maybe one uh my original review of Joseph King of Dreams when I before it got taken down. I had to redo that one. Yeah, so but whatever. 400 videos, and I was thinking, what should I do for this? And I think at this stage, I decide I should do another top 10 list. And this is a list I've been thinking about for a while. Taking a bit of an inspiration from various other internet critics who have done this. This is the top 10 reviews I will not do. I'll never touch them. Yeah, because I look into a lot of things. I look into a variety of different subjects, and whether it be movies, TV shows. I haven't done them in a while. Video games, books, even now music with recent endeavors. And yeah, I've been doing a lot, but there are these handful of things that I just I which I have looked into in my own free time, but I'm like, for whatever reason, I just don't feel like I should really do any reviews on them. And I'm basically going to explain why I feel the way about these things to you right now. I'll give you my general thoughts and why I've decided I will never review them. Um, and look, if I say anything that you guys just don't agree with these various subjects or topics, I should say, if you like them, great. If you don't like them, also great. And just please understand why I won't go into a full video to go in depth and just see how I feel. But anyway, with that said, this is my top 10 reviews I will never do. So let's get started. Number 10, Bridge to Terabithia. Now, this is one that I think a movie that a lot of people are unsure of whether it's really good or not. Some people like it enough and say, it stays true to the original book and everything and gets a lot of the themes right. While others say it got maybe a little bit too sappy or something like that. I mean, Disney may have done, maybe could have maybe lined up a bit of childhood innocence and all that. But I've seen the film and I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't uh, too heavy-handed and sappy and with everything. I thought it captured the book well enough, like and everything. It could have. I mean, basically, it still keeps to the essence of the story of a cut to a preteens who create a fantasy world to escape their troubled reality and develop a close friendship and potential romance together. I thought they pretty much handled it well. Um, though I will admit some of the fantasy creatures of Terabithia, I don't know, I didn't really think all the CG was good in that sort of aspect, but it wasn't really the main focus. And I will admit even the music does sort of get a bit grating and everything. But I thought the story was adapted well enough. I like the performances. I like John Hutchison as the boy. I like Robert Patrick as the father. So yeah, but the main reason why I'm not going to do it does relate to the book, and I actually have read the book. It was actually a we actually had to do this for as a bit of an analysis in high school, and um, as you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a major twist at the end. Well, not really twist, but a, a, a tragic thing happens, and a lot of people. This is what makes the book a lot special for a lot of people and everything. But with me, I actually missed a couple of sessions of reading the book in high school in my English class. I think due to excursions and some other things I had to go on at a time. So I missed a couple of chapters, and I wasn't so sure how far I missed. So I had to so I sort of skipped ahead of a couple of chapters to see what was actually going to happen, and I found out what the big reveal, what the the tragic event, and yeah, I think because I never actually read it properly, it never really affected me, and I was very I was like, okay, whatever. So yeah, I didn't really feel anything because of what I had to do, and it's because of that when you get to that scene in the movie, um, which I think is a lot why a lot of people feel very mixed over it because whether they got it right or not. I didn't really get it. I really wasn't you know heartbroken or anything like that. So yeah, but that's the reason why I won't touch Bridge to Terabithia. I think it's okay. Not the best, not the worst, but whatever. It turned out fine. But yeah, I'm not going to review that one. So yeah, that's number 10. Number 9, The Ant Bully. Now, this could be seen as a bit. This gets a little bit of a very unsure, again, a very mixed reception from a lot of people because some people don't know if it's really any good or anything bad. A lot of people say it came out at the wrong time and everything, and yeah, I can definitely see that fact. I mean, considering this was released in 2006, so this was, I think, 8 year, yeah, 8 years after Ants and a Bug's Life. So a lot of people were like, "Oh, really? You're getting it's a bit too late to cash in and everything." And I don't know, being based on a picture book that isn't that very long, and yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I think it people would think I would want to review this because considering how I thought about the Polar Express and everything with that. But for what it is, I saw it, and from I thought it was all right. I didn't think I was uh that much time was wasted. I thought they expand for a okay. I will say when it comes to picture books, I think they can work in being adapted into a feature length narrative if they expand on it and the story has that sort of feel that more can be added to it. And I thought the Ant Bully definitely did because what it is a kid who gets tormented by bullies, takes vent his anger out on a colony of ants that lives in his front yard, and the ants retaliate by shrinking the boy to their size to teach him a lesson. And for what it is, I thought they actually handled it. It worked out well, and what they did was pretty good. I mean, the animation isn't perfect, but for what it is, it's okay. I mean, I mean, the people who made this were the same people who made Jimmy Neutron, and I like Jimmy Neutron and both the movie and the show, and I thought they did pretty well. It looked good. And I will say not all the actors work in this. Like, people like Julia Roberts and Bruce Campbell work really well. Well, I don't know, someone like Paul Giamatti and Nicolas Cage, I thought I think hamming it up a little bit. I didn't really thought they were that uh, good, and well, they could have been better. They could have been a little bit more better at certain areas. Um, but yeah, and but for what it is, that's really, but there's not really much you can add to it. There's not really much I can really add to it with it because I thought it was just okay. I mean, maybe it could have been better, it could have been handled a little bit different here and there, and as I said, some of the actors could have done a bit better, but I don't really think there's really much I can add to it because there's not much with it. I mean, yes, there's some things I could maybe talk about here and there, but there are other things I'm like, maybe I'll think it over. Um, yeah, uh, but but for what it is, I thought the Ant Bully's fine. It's okay. I mean, just let it be what it is. It's not awful. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just a fine movie and maybe worth a watch for young families. So yeah, I thought it was fine. Yeah, got nothing more to say about it. Number 8, The Muppets Wizard of Oz. Now, if you may remember when I reviewed Kermit Swamp Years, I said that I thought that this film was the worst film in the starring the Muppets, and I still stand by that opinion. And I think the main reason why I feel that way, that this is the worst, is well, Kermit Swamp Years, they were sort of trying to do their own thing, and do something original. This, it sort of feels like they were trying to combine two styles of Muppet movies together to make something, make something good, and basically get their mojo back now being owned by Disney, because this was, I think, the first thing that they did following Disney's purchase of the Muppets. And because so you got the Muppet movies where they tell a classical story, but including their characters in the iconic roles of that subject matter, like Muppet Treasure Island and Muppets Christmas Carol. But then you've also got the aspect of the other Muppet movies where you have them just going around on an adventure with random celebrities making appearances here and there as cameos. And I don't know, I don't think they meshed that well together. Like I mean, and even then, I think when it came to the Wizard of Oz, they actually have done stuff with that subject matter in the past, whether it be um, directly on the Muppet Show or in separate segments and all that. They've done it before and they handle it well. With this, which you think they should be able to handle it well, I mean, not really much. Like, I didn't really think they were really that good. Like it was just sort of forgettable. Like but for what it is, I mean, it look they do. The one thing I will give credit to with the film is that they do at least try to add things from the original Oz books that the other film adaptations haven't really haven't really focused on. Like I think I'm trying to remember. Statler and Waldorf, they play, if I remember correctly, uh, the these Collider critics who are based on these same monsters from the books that show up, but they don't show up in the films. That's cool. And my favorite scene in the film where each of the four where each one of Dorothy, Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion all go and see the wizard at a separate time, and each of them see a different. The wizard sort of changed its form, his do an illusion to be a bit of a different sort of appearance to each of them and all that. And I kind of like that because that's actually kind of fascinating. And obviously they changed it a bit differently with this as in the original book they're different. It's sort of different. Like this time Fozzie, the Cowardly Lion. I really do like how they chose Kermit as the Scarecrow, Fozzie as the Lion, and Gonzo as the Tin Man, which I also thought was cool that they made him a robot in this. Um, though I like what they did with that, and even when they get the wizard kicks him out and all that by dropping him into a trapdoor and all that. That was funny. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't know. I think the visuals they look cheap because this was originally made for television. Um, Ashanti, I don't know. I didn't really care for her as Dorothy. In fact, I didn't really care for any of the human characters. And like Queen Latifah, David Allen Greer, they're better in other things, and I didn't really care for them as Auntie Em and Uncle Henry. Uh, you know, about the only character I kind of liked when making an appearance. I of the version I have, which is this version, I don't have the one where Kelly Osbourne makes a cameo, but I did enjoy the Quentin Tarantino cameo. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't really care for the human actors, and I don't know, including Pepe the King Prawn taking over the role as Toto. Yeah, that was just. I didn't really care for that. Like every other character fit their role from the Muppets, fitting the roles of the characters from the Wizard of Oz. But why make Pepe Toto? I don't get it. But But yeah, that's about it, and that's basically all I really have to say about why I don't think this is the best. Why I think I don't like this movie. It's not enough for me to do a full review for it. Um, you know, I don't know. I think I'd say if you want to give it if you want to give it a chance, maybe you might find more enjoyment. Maybe you might think it's worse. I don't know. Maybe in the end you might still say, oh, it Coma Swamp Years is definitely the worst. It's up to you, but yeah, I don't really have much I can really add to it, and yeah, I just didn't think I didn't like it, and I still think it definitely is the worst Muppet movie. Number seven, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Now, I hate this book. I hate this idea. Like, I hated it from the moment I heard about this play that was going to be made and about the future of Harry Potter. And they were going to, from what I've better word, retcon how a bit of the ending of Deathly Hallows wrapped up that whole saga. I was like, why? Like, I didn't, I thought it was an awful idea. Like, I think it was announced around the same time, I think, as Tom and Jerry meets Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. So back to back, I got these two things that just really angered me, and yeah, I still feel that way. Because I've never seen the play. I've read the book adaptation, and I really didn't like it. Like, it just seemed like the most out of nowhere fan fiction I've ever read. And, jeez, it was just like, God, it was just sort of bonkers, bug nuts, I mean, okay, Albus, Harry's second son, Albus Severus, starts Hogwarts, um, gets sorted into Slytherin, which goes against how the ending of Deathly Hallows was, um, sort of hinting at that he might do what Harry did with influencing the Sorting Hat's decision. But he ends up in Slytherin and becomes friends with Draco Malfoy's son. Okay, I can sort of see a bit of it, but then he learns a bit about Harry's what Harry had to went through in Hogwarts and gets influenced into trying to resurrect Cedric Diggory with after being told about that by his cousin, his late cousin. Like what? So they steal a time turner, go back in time, erase Cedric's death, prevent Cedric from being killed, and that leads to Voldemort taking over the whole entire world. Like, my gosh, that's horrible. And even it turns out the cousin is not the cousin, but is actually Voldemort's secret child. Like, what? Like, I can't believe it. It's just, I mean, look, I know the Potter lore pretty well. And I know there is no way that would happen. Yes, I mean, okay, yes. Okay, Voldemort having child being also the child of Bellatrix Lestrange. Okay, I can get that because, well, I mean, their personalities were very similar, and even though it's because Voldemort was conceived for a love potion, he's unable to feel love. But it is hinted at in the books with certain parts, especially Deathly Hallows, that Voldemort does have feelings for Bellatrix because of how similar they are. So, okay, I can get that, but I don't think that's can happen. Like, I mean, seriously, I mean, look, I don't know how. I have to double check again how long the time frame was between the Battle of the Seven Harrys to the Battle of Hogwarts, whether there was a 9 month period where the child could be conceived. But I'm like, what on earth? Nah, nah. It just doesn't make sense. And even then, just even the things that they do with these characters and everything, I just don't care. Even though, again, it is kind of a bit hilarious. Though I will admit, it is kind of hilarious where Draco's son actually does sort of say towards the end that he has a crush on Ron and Hermione's daughter. All right, okay, I can buy that maybe. But there were two parts I liked. There were two parts I liked about this. First off, I like what they did with Umbridge. I thought they handled that really well. I thought going into this alternate reality and how Umbridge further gains power and makes sense. And I thought that that was actually well done. I thought that was a perfect way, perfect thing. And the other scene I like, and this was probably this actually does give me a bit of emotion. It's when Scorpio, who is Draco's son, meets an alternate reality version of Professor Snape, and he tells him what Harry does to honor him um, in the future following his own death, and by naming his son after him. And yeah, that was really good. Like that really hit me hard. I just felt that was such a great scene and part, and I was like, oh, oh, that really hit me hard. But for what but it's also part of the reason why I don't know whether this upcoming TV series is going to do Cursed Child. I'm not sure they will, but it's also this scene is why the reason I don't want to see them ever do a movie based on this because really I really just want to see Al. It just makes me further sad that Alan Rickman's no longer around because he would have it would have been great to see him in that scene, that doing that part and like yeah, that would have been great. But yeah, that's it. Like when it comes, if I'm ever going to talk about a play, it's I don't know. I don't think I ever would. I mean, okay, look, I am reviewing or plays or musicals. Well, I mean, I'm obviously talked about the Wicked movies, but they're adaptations into a film. So they're easy for me to talk about. But with this, nah, I couldn't do it. I really don't think I can. And I don't know. I just don't really think I can really do it. So yeah, I'm not going to do it. Number six, Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Now, here's the funny thing. I was actually planning on originally reviewing Space Jam: A New Legacy when it came out in theaters back in 2021. That was on my agenda to do. Unfortunately, due to the Delta strain outbreak in New South Wales within the COVID pandemic, I was unable to see it because we went into lockdown. So I had to push it aside and say, okay, I'll watch it when it gets released on, say, Netflix or whatever streaming service it comes out on, or even when it's on pay TV. I'll watch it then and maybe do something with it. But I then watched it and yeah, it wasn't that good. But um, part of the reason why I decided not to do it was I just felt it was just too similar to a lot of other things, and especially the first movie, and there's just no reason for me to even talk about it. And then again, I mean, and even going to that, I mean, with the original Space Jam, I mean, it's a film that is made for a specific type of people, a specific generation, which I'm obviously not a part of. I mean, I saw the original film when I was first saw it about when I was about 8 or 9, and even from the beginning, I thought it was just a sellout. Like, I didn't care for it. Like, I mean, whatever. I mean, what Looney Tunes are going to play basketball to save themselves from getting taken away and enslaved by aliens? Yeah, I really couldn't care. I mean, I obviously didn't know who Michael Jordan was till later, but who Michael Jordan is till later, and I didn't really. Whatever. I mean, it's got a. I guess it is sort of interesting. They do base it factually a bit over his career, but it still isn't. It's still strange, Like even then, I don't think he's not the worst actor in this, but I don't know. It still sounds. I don't know if it's still the best here. That yeah, I didn't really think. Even cameos, here and there. Bill Murray, whatever. Wayne Knight was great. I mean, I love Wayne Knight. He's always great in anything he's in. And Danny DeVito, fan too. But even then, the voices for the Looney Tunes also didn't feel right with this film. I mean, they didn't go with the actors the voice actors who had succeeded Mel Blanc and Arthur Q. Bryan and all of them. I think only June Foray was the only one who I think returned. But yeah, I didn't feel like their voices fit. They weren't the the seasoned second season replacements trained by the originals, or trained by Blank. And yeah, I really just feel that way. And Lola, I don't think she was awful in her introduction. I think she could have been better. I didn't think she was bad. I didn't think she was overly sexualized, but whatever. I never got that opinion that divided a lot of people and everything. And as for New Legacy, you know, I think, well, I can say LeBron James is worse of a performer than Michael Jordan was. But the main thing I think with this film is that, well, yes, it's sort of a modernized version, and it's trying to cater towards the, a newer generation. The main purpose of this film is just to promote, HBO Max and Warner Bros. Discovery, all their properties that they now own. I mean, this is pretty much Roger Rabbit, just but focusing on a basketball match. It just that was all it really was. I mean, yeah, you could see a. I mean, even then, I don't think there's really anything you can really add to it. I mean, there was nothing really else in it. It was just a marketing ploy. And I mean, yes, even the original film was a bit of a marketing ploy, but at least it had something. But yeah, it was just a marketing ploy for just Warner Bros. Itself. And I mean, okay, there was some funny things like Don Cheadle could be a little bit funny here and there, but that was really about. There was nothing really much else. Some of the cameos were cool. Like, I mean, I will say they did okay with the Looney Tunes themselves. I mean, with some of the things they do, like I mean, how the fact that Cheadle's able to convince all the Looney Tunes to abandon Bugs Bunny and go to explore the other universes owned by Warner Brothers. Okay, that was pretty funny, and even some of the ideas of um, Daffy trying to promote himself in the DC universe. That's cool. Lola being trained by Wonder Woman. That's fine. The Tasmanian Devil being experimented on by Rick and Morty. That's funny. And gosh, Elmer Fudd and being Mini Me and Austin Powers and Sylvester being Mr. Bigglesworth. That's funny. Even the Roadrunner being Mad Max. That's funny. Yeah, there's some good stuff there, but that it's still just good stuff. There's nothing much in terms of a plot. And yeah, there's not really much I can really go on with that. And I think because I don't have an original attachment, I don't have much of an attachment to the first film, is why I can't really talk about the sequel. And I just don't think there's enough that I can really dive into it and talk about it to its fullest. Like I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, they can do it. Maybe I could have done it if I had have been able to see the first film, see New Legacy in theaters, but obviously I didn't. But yeah, I just don't think I can really do it now, and yeah, they're just not for me. Number five, Luc Besson's Arthur trilogy. Now I've known about the first film for a very long time. Like this was promoted at my local Video Easy store that lived down the road from me when I grew up when I was 6, and yeah, I remember seeing that poster being advertised, and I mean, it looked cool. Like it looked great. It looked fine. I thought it was looking pretty good. Feel about this, this young boy looking down this mini person society in his garden. It looked fine, but I never watched it. And I mean, I hear about it, but I'm like, and I hear about the cast they got for the film. Like, oh my God, like that was a big the cast. I'll talk about it later, but yeah, but I heard about it, but I never watched it till I was about maybe 18, 19. I was just curious and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. I didn't even know about the sequels till years later either. But yeah, going into it, um, when I watched it, I can't really say if I hated it or not. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Look, I've never read the books that Besson actually wrote. I know in terms of his style as a filmmaker, this is a complete tonal shift, but I don't know, like it just feels like this could have been something more than what it ended up being. Like it's sort of like the live action Scooby-Doo movies where it's originally meant to be a satire and be made for an older generation, but they decided to make it more child friendly, and these two sides just don't mesh well. And you can definitely feel that a lot with, say, with a lot of the animation parts. I mean, okay, the animation does not look is not great, but whatever, it could be could have been worse. But yeah, I mean, you look at all this stuff that they do in this animated world. I mean, it isn't some of the stuff they do is not appropriate to kids. Jeez. I mean, with them drinking alcoholic drinks, supposed alcoholic drinks, and all that, these sexual references, and even the fact that the kid, Arthur, uh, gets forcibly married to someone who's clearly older than he is, um, in the first movie. Because if you don't know, Arthur, well, okay, Arthur's played by Freddie Highmore, but in the first movie, the princess, Selenia, is voiced by Madonna. I mean, okay, they edited that part out in Australia when Jimmy Fallon says what just happened, but my gosh, it's just oh, I get so much. I get oh, ugh. Still creeps me, still makes me creep out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, okay, they repl obviously Madonna didn't return for the sequels, and they got Selena Gomez, which okay makes things a little better, but yeah, whatever. It's just, I mean, yeah, but taking that part out of it, I mean, it could have. There was a lot they could have done with the first movie. Like, I mean, whatever it is. I mean, the actors okay. They did okay. I mean, Freddie Highmore really was good. Mia Farrow, Ron Crawford as the grandparents, they're fine. And as I said, looking at the cast that they got for the voice for the little people. I mean, the voice acting. I mean, okay, Madonna does sort of go. It creeps me out a little bit, and Jimmy Fallon could be a little bit better. But even the other people, like, I mean, you look at the cast, I mean, Chaz Palminteri, Robert De Niro, um, Emilio Estevez, that's a good cast. But more surprisingly is the fact that the amount of musicians they got to be in this franchise. I mean, just look. I mean, I looking over them. I mean, Snoop Dogg, David Bowie was in the films. I think Fergie was in there. Will I Am, Lou Reed, Iggy Pop. Gosh, I don't know. How they got all these musicians to get in these films. Eh, I mean, not all of them are perfect in their roles, but I mean, it's still sort of impressive to think. Um, but yeah, I mean, the first film, whatever, could have been something. It didn't really have anything. The sequels, the second film is awful. Like, to build up a threat, the return of a villain who doesn't show up till about the last 10 minutes of the film. And the main title is that he's plotting his revenge, but we don't see him till the very end. It's like, gosh, jeez, and everything. And even the third film, okay, epic in scale, but I just feel like they could have expanded further with the gap that Arthur's now trapped as a little creature, and the villain's taken over his place and has destroyed his way to get back home. Even I thought it's the way of him returning to normal and becoming human again was, I don't know, very lacking. Like I think personally, I mean, okay, I don't know. I mean, okay, Freddie Highmore was entering puberty at that point, but I just think maybe it would have been better if they had have kept Arthur as a mini Moy for the whole entire film. And I don't know. I mean, given the fact that, and I don't know, maybe have time. We go for time dilation, and now Arthur, if he does return to being a human, he's now an adult or something like that. Do something with it. I don't know. I may even have a bit where he's struggling whether decides he doesn't want to go back to being human. I don't know. It's just an idea. But yeah, whatever. But yeah, I really didn't care for them, and yeah, they're just these jumbled films a bit, and I wouldn't think especially when it comes to what they have in there and everything. It just doesn't make really any sense and everything. Well, okay, they do sort of make sense, but then again, they don't, and they just there are other people who've talked about these films more cohesive and comprehensible than I ever could. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see any reason to talk about this trilogy. I mean, again, if I maybe seen the first movie when I was younger, maybe I could have said something. I could say something, but yeah, I don't really see it. I mean, I can go into stuff like certain Disney straight-to-video sequels or the Alpha and Omega sequels and all that, and certain other ones, because I feel like I can add something to them. But with these, no, no, I didn't watch the first movie, so when I towards years later, I can't really talk about it. And the sequels. Yeah, they're not worth my time. So yeah, number four, Song of the South. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how on earth could I talk about Song of the South? I mean, it's pretty much dead and buried. Disney has hid that away forever. They've outside of some brief showings in the 1980s, that was it. There's no way I could have been able to see it. Well, guess what? I actually have seen it. In fact, I actually own it. It's right here. I have this European VHS tape from the UK of Song of the South, and I watched it through that. It was yeah, I actually have seen it. I mean, I don't think there's ever an Australian copy of Song of the South. Maybe some bootleg DVDs, but here and there. But never an official copy. I mean, the closest you can probably say is the Disney sing-along song "Zippity Doo Dah," which even then that's been sort of shunned now because of things like um, Black Lives Matter and everything. So it's becoming even more controversial and hidden away. And of course, the Splash Mountain ride at Disney World got redone to be themed after Princess and the Frog, which even I imagine will probably still attract some controversy. But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I've seen it and I have watched it, and like many people, I mean, even taking the racial sensitivity side away, it's still a very, very uh, movie. Like, there's not really much you can really talk about because it can be seen as quite boring at moments. And I do agree with what I think Doug Walker said that maybe part of the reason why Disney's never tried to push it harder is that the film's just sort of bland and forgettable, bar a couple of things. Yeah, and I mean, look at him, man. The good stuff is there. I mean, the guy who plays Uncle Remus, he's great. Really, I agree with that. The songs, Zippity Doo Dah, classic. How Do You Do? Is also really, really good. Yeah, and the animation segments. I mean, the stuff with Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear is absolutely hilarious, and even how they blend animation to live action shots. That it's impressive how well they still hold up from a film that was released in the 19 late into the 1940s. Yeah, so it's kind of great, and it's funny. I think the funny thing is as much as now it's become more of a black sheep than it is. I mean, Disney was still sort of periodically referencing the film in any way that they could. I remember the cameos the Brer Rabbit, the Brer animals made in other appearances. Like, I mean, I remember the cameos in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I remember when Brer, never really watched the episode of House of Mouse where they appeared in, but I remember that there is that. Think that they appeared in one in a Connect game of Disneyland for Splash Mountain. That's also cool, and I especially remember Brer Bear appearing at the end of Lion King one and a half or three if you're Australian. Yeah, I remember when he shows up at Timon and Pumbaa's to watch the movie. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, the more it gets, I think because um, again, not just in turn, you've got two sides to why it's probably tough to talk about because obviously it's sort of a very bland, forgettable movie when you take apart the good parts because um, it's just so slow and boring. And even then, but of course, the main thing is the racial side about how it portrays black people and how it deals with slavery and everything, whether it is offensive or not. Um, and as times continue to evolve and more controversial things have happened, it continues to get more shunned on. So I don't know, like I don't want to offend people too much by saying something if I felt it wasn't as offensive as what other people say it is. Even if, I'm living in Australia, halfway across the world, and I'm talking about a film that could be seen as racially insensitive to African Americans and all that. I don't know how our the indigenous Aboriginal people here in Australia feel about this film. So yeah, it's sort of a tough one to talk about, and I'm glad I saw it at the very least, and I'm glad I own it. I should mention this is also not going to be on before the flick. Not because I could I don't want to anger people. No, no, nothing like that. There's actually no previews on this tape, so there's nothing I can really do with it. So yeah, but I own it, and I'm probably going to keep it. I mean, might be worth something to show to uh, if I ever have children and all that, at some point when they're older and everything, so they get a bit of an idea. But yeah, we'll get cross that bridge whenever that happens. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about it, and yeah, I'd rather let someone who's more of an expert on that talk about it than me. Number three, cats. And I know there is a lot I could talk about with this. I know there is so much that can be said about how awful this movie is. But everyone has talked about it. It has literally been beaten to death enough that I think there is nothing I can say any different than what everyone else has said. And especially on my own. Like, I'll get to that fact later, but yeah, this film, Cats has been pretty much the most reviled film. Um, well, what the most reviled film in any that's ever been released. Well, released since I think. I don't know. Maybe movie 43 probably. I mean, some have come close, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That was awful. Madam Web, equally. I guess Borderlands and the Snow White remake come close too. But Cats in particular was pretty much reviled from the start, or the first trailer, and everyone saw what this was about, what they were going to do with this. And look, sorry, I just everything that people have said about it is holds up, and just I there's nothing more I can add. Look, I didn't see I've never seen the original version that got released in theaters. With all the glitches and all that, even though there's still some glitches pretty obviously seen in this. And I think part of the reason why I never saw this in theaters, because this was start in 2019 was where I really started to kick drive, trying to see as many movies as I could in theaters. But if you may remember, 2019 was not a good year for cinema in general. Like, I mean, of the films I saw in theaters from that year, there's only four that I think really hold up and I can still say, oh, they're great movies that I saw. Those being How to Train Your Dragon: Hidden World, Avengers: Endgame, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, and Spider-Man: Far From Home. Some have come close to saying, oh, they're okay, Like I think Danger Close probably stands out, and there's probably some other ones too here and there. I can't remember, but when Cats was being shown at my local cinema, because I was mainly going to the cinema that my brother worked at before that closed down. Um, whenever I saw the poster of it on its way, I was like, Nah, I got other things I want to watch. I didn't really care for it. Like, I don't know, like, okay, yeah, whatever, whatever. Because I don't remember really seeing any trailers of it. And yeah, but I hear about how awful it is, and I hear even when it got re-released for a sing-along version at that scene, I was like, nah, still not seeing it. I didn't. And then further the reviews and everything, and I'm like, even when I finally saw it, everything I thought about it, it just basically gave me what I thought I was going to get. Even when I watch a bad movie, I can hope that I can maybe see something I could add to it, but nothing. Like pretty much everyone's pretty much hit it on the nose. Like all the story is absolutely insane. And makes no cohesive sense. The acting is just awful. The jokes are embarrassing. The the CGI is, if not creeping you out, and just totally uncanny. And the musical numbers severely butchered. Like, I don't know. I mean, I hear some people say of all the actors, Ian McKellen was about the only one who kind of got through it unscathed, but I don't know. Whatever. I mean, okay. I mean, James Corden, Idris Elba, Judi Dench, Taylor Swift, Rebel Wilson. Uh, eh, okay. I mean, I can't say why say McKellen probably was the only one to put in was about okay, but whatever. No, what I'm saying is pretty much everything everyone's talked about this film is pretty much right. You don't need me to tell you more. And I think it's also worth mentioning is that like if you're gonna watch this, because I can see why people would want to watch it because maybe it could be seen as a so bad it's good movie. Well, yeah, I can see that, but you need to be with a group of people to probably get the most enjoyment out of this. Like, be at a party, have a few drinks, stuff like that. Then you throw on cats just to just laugh at how awful it is and everything. Just to I don't know, have that sort of moment. That's the way you can enjoy this film. And I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a teetotaler, so I can't really take part in that. But if I could talk about it being say the sober guy at a party like this, it could work, but I can't. I don't think I can. Well, because I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe if I'm able to talk about this film ever, it'd have to be in a collab with someone else on another channel. But that's really about it. So I can't do it on this channel. That's what I'm trying to say. Cats, nah, nah. I stick to. I'm not even a cat person. I just stick to raising birds. So yeah, sorry. Number two, Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. Again, there's so much I can talk about this as to why this is an awful video game. Like, easily one of the worst games ever made. Like, one of the most glitchiest ever made. Definitely one of the most ugliest games ever made. So much I can go on with, but I'm just not going to do it because it's pretty much been beating on a dead horse. There's nothing more I can add. Like, I mean, I remember when I first saw this, and I remember when I first saw the redesigns for this and that screenshots. Even I was like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, I never really. I mean, even looking at that silhouette and seeing how they changed everything. I mean, okay, and even looking at it years later, about a year later when when they showed off the full set, what they actually look like and not with silhouettes. I mean, yeah, they're dumb, but I mean, especially Knuckles. But whatever. I I can accept if they're going to do something different with it, and but whatever. But even when they showed off footage of the game, I mean, the trailers. I don't know whether they masked it well or not over the problems, but everything. I mean, it looked okay. Maybe it could be something, but when the full game was finally released and I saw the cutscenes, even the cutscenes, my gosh, I hated the way it looked right from the very beginning. The saturated color palette, and the models just. It was just felt like a PS2 game trying to be upgraded to the Wii U for HD, but they didn't get it. But they didn't make it HD. It was just standard def and bloody awful. Gosh, it was so awful to look at, and yeah, and eh, I hear the reviews and how they just basically say, "Oh, it's now become the worst Sonic game and overtaken Sonic 06." Gosh. And even when I finally, played it and I got hold of the game, added to my collection for the Wii U, which I have shown this year actually. Um, I played it and jeez, it was easy to get through. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really find it that. I mean, Sonic the 06, that's something I can actually talk about because I can actually say things differently. And there are some parts I like in that game, but a lot of people actually don't. Like, I don't know, just point an example, Knuckles, his gameplay in Sonic 06. I know a lot of people hate it and call it one of the worst, but I actually don't mind it. Same as Amy's gameplay. I can play both of them fine and like it. Silver, I enjoyed. But with this, everyone's pretty much, again, everything's been said and done about this. I mean, as I said, the um the graphics look awful, the glitches are numerous, the gameplay is slow. There's no real speed to this. The voice the the change of voice of character traits is just strange. I mean, Knuckles is just absolutely a bonehead in this too much. Shadow, why is he in this game? It makes no sense. Why is he so overly aggressive? There's no explanation. Lyric, villain of the week. Wow. Like, yeah, there's not anything I can add to it and everything. It's just even given a bit of a build up to the eventual animated series, like introducing sticks and all that. So like, yeah, it was more of an explanation the 3DS game Shattered Crystal of everything, which I'm also not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about Shattered Crystal because I never played it. Fire and Ice, same thing. But well, even though I could say some things differently about that, but yeah, but yeah, that what more can I add? What that hasn't actually been said? And I will admit, but I will admit the art the character designs have grown on me over time. I can accept for what they were trying to do with that and with doing this new direction for Sonic. In fact, actually, to be fair, I actually really don't really like Amy's redesign in this. I actually really do. In fact, here's something interesting. I actually own a figurine of Amy's redesign. Boom. Yeah, I actually own this. So I leave it on my desk at work and everything. And yeah, I, I own it. I like it. It's fine. I like Amy's design. I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm one of the few people who can say I'm a huge Amy Rose fan, and why I'm glad to see she's finally coming into Sonic movies. So yeah, there's that. Um, but yeah, but what I could talk about was Sonic Boom. Probably could talk about the TV series. There's enough for me to actually say what I thought about it and everything. I think there's enough for me to talk about. And I especially would like to talk about at some point the Sonic fan art for the Boom franchise. There's some really good fan art that people have done for the Sonic Boom franchise. Especially the work of an artist known as Eve on Tumblr. She's done really good. Part of the reason why I like it is because when I saw the redesigns, I thought that they were going to age up the Sonic characters for this new series sub series. Because if you figure it out, I mean, if you know, the Sonic characters are all meant to be pretty much all teenagers in the main series, and you can sort of see that when I saw the redesigns for Boom and saw how everyone looks a little bit older, adjusted. They look to be like their early 20s or something like that, and with everything and how they acted and how they were, going about their lives in the cartoon, I was like, okay, I want to see this. So the fact that it was like I said that they were still actually the same age as their main counterparts, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, no, that's designs, they're meant to be adults. And what I like about the fan art, the fan art for the Boom franchise is they actually do sort of mention pretty much Phil pretty much give me what I thought this sub series was meant to be. And as I said, in particular, the work by this artist Eve, she does an incredible job. Like I love her fan art, fan universe of Sonic Boom, like that. I really do like it. Yeah. Yeah, one point I should talk about fan art and all that and everything because there's some really good ones. Not just for Sonic, but also Mario and a couple other ones here and there. Some Disney films here and there. Yeah, the only fan art I don't really bother is the Shrek stuff. And yeah, but yeah, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Not going to do. Um, again, everything's been said. What more can I do? Could do the TV series. Could obviously talk about some fan art, but not but not the original game that everyone says is garbage because that's what it is. It's just garbage. And my number one review that I will never do is anything to do with Bill Cosby. Now this, I know I'm so cheating because I'm not actually saying one specific film, but anything related to one person. But it's just the thing. I can't do anything about anything to do with this guy because it's just nothing I can. I can't even talk about them because it's just so decentralized. It's just nothing you can say can even hide away from how much totally incorrect and everything about those films are when you know what actually is. Because obviously, I mean, even before, say, 2014, when Hannibal Buress um, sparked his downfall, it's just it, it's so it's so staggering just how much these stuff, a lot of them is all terrible, yeah, but they're still just it's not you can't handle it. It's just whoa, it's just really diff. There's just so much. It just masks and portrays so much of a falsehood of what we know. Yeah, it's just it's really hard to go on about it. I mean, and here's the thing when it comes to celebrities who have been who have their careers have pretty much been finished because of scandal and all that. Usually, I'm actually okay with I can actually talk about a lot of them because there's enough for me to actually say, oh, I can push them to the side. I can actually discuss it in grave, talk about this stuff in detail. Like example, Jeffrey Tambor. He's someone who I can actually talk about a fair bit because there's yes, he has done some questionable things, but I'm okay speaking about a lot of the stuff he's in because I can feel like I can push it to the side. Um, Another one. Let me think. Michael Richards. You know, yes. What happened back then? What happened at that at the at the comedy screen? What happened in that comedy festival was awful. But I can still watch Cosmo in his performance in Seinfeld. Fine. That's all good. There's no issues with that. And even Harvey Weinstein, I can actually talk about him fine on this channel. Yes, what he did is he's probably in many ways could be seen as just as bad as Cosby, but probably maybe even worse. But I can actually talk about it because at least you know there's enough for me because even his reputation before the Me Too movement, he was still referred to as a bully. With how he with his aggressive tactics and how he meddled with the affairs of movie making. It's easy enough for me to talk about a lot of his stuff without going into detail about about without looking into what he was also doing behind the scenes. Yeah, so there is that. But there are those few that I can't talk about because of what I know now. I mean, Danny Masterson, Jared Fogle, Lance Armstrong, Roseanne Barr, Lori Loughlin. These are people who are, no matter, whenever I see them in anything, I just do not want to even bother looking at them. And even going back to a couple of films I've already talked about, that feature uh, Alison Mack and R. Kelly in The Ant Bully and Space Jam. You know, I can't. That what we now know. Jeez, it's hard enough to talk about them. Some I can be a little bit lenient over. Well, some I can be a little bit half and half. Like Kevin Spacey. Some films I've seen him, he's in. I'm okay with. Others I'm not. And then in another case, John Lasseter. I can handle. I can look at some of the stuff he's made and say, "Oh, I'm okay with him." But then even when I talk about some stuff like what he did behind the scenes of stuff like, Cars and Brave, uh, with how he handled, with what he screwed up, how he screwed over people, geez, I'm like, but yeah, that's just, that's where I am. But going into Cosby, you know, out of everything he has done, you know, I should mention, I watched The Cosby Show when I was 10 years old. Because this was aired around the same time on Comedy Central, and half an hour before they showed Home Improvement, which is one of my favorite shows. Even when I watched The Cosby Show back then as a 10-year-old, I just was like, whatever, it's not for me. I didn't really care for it. I didn't really think it was that funny and everything. I didn't think of it as anything special. Um, and of all this stuff, and I mean, Fat Albert's probably the closest I can say can come. I can be a little bit lenient, slightly. It's hard to gauge, but I'm still not a little bit hesitant over it. Out of all these films, that he's in Jack, the Francis Ford Coppola movie with Robin Williams as a 10-year-old, because he's only in it for a little bit. He's not. It's enough to get through slightly, but still tough to. It's still an awful movie to watch. But I mean, let me explain. Leonard Part 6, one of the worst movies ever made. Easily something I can talk about. Cosby even pretty much said, this is an awful movie, don't watch it. And yeah, he's right. But how can you take his word for it when you watch with saying it's a bad movie? Like, because, how can you trust him? It's just, it's tough to sit through. You can't even focus on it. Like, Ghost Dad, another one. My gosh, I mean, he's meant to, I guess in many ways, it's just hard to settle with his image and everything because we wish I guess we would all hope he wasn't. It's just really hard to settle with what we know and how he acts in that film. Like gosh, I mean, his interviews and all that. I mean the commercials. My goodness, they're tough. They can be taken so many different ways. Credit Nostalgia Critics top 11 most disturbing Bill Cosby commercials easily. Watch that. That's good. Good video, good content. But yeah, like there's not much I can really do. Like it's just hard for me to talk about anything that he's in without feeling a little bit disturbed and just I cannot focus and critique them properly. Like it's not. It's just impossible because that everything in them can be taken so many different directions, and even when they're bad, and he's said that they're bad, and how can you take his word? How can you take him so seriously? It's just he's this one person that no matter I consider him the biggest downfall in history. With what we in terms of celebrity getting busted and everything for doing all these terrible crimes and everything. And yeah, like it's just yeah, it's just difficult for me to talk about and everything. I can't do anything with him. I can't talk about anything that he's in. So, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that, because there's always those handful of celebrities that that we found out, we thought were one thing, but turn out to be these really bad people. But and we now can't talk about anything that they're in because they just disturb us too much. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way about Cosby. So, but yeah, but yeah, that's why I can't talk about him. Like, I'm not doing anything that he's in, anything he was associated with, anything, especially while he's still alive, still around and everything. I just can't. So yeah, So yeah, that's my top 10 reviews. I won't do. Jesus, video's gone on long, but yeah, I thought I'd go in depth with them and everything. I think I've done it pretty damn well. Why I'm not going to touch any of these things. So um, yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching for my 400th video for House of Reviews. For the meantime, House of Reviews is out, and see you for some shorter videos next time. Yeah. All right. Ciao.